We're here at Enoterra Restaurant in Kingston, New Jersey. We're going to be doing virtual wine tastings, sort of a mini Giro d'Italia trip around Italy, taking it just 3 wines at a time and 1 region at a time. The first place we're going to visit today is Alto-Adige. And Alto-Adige is one of those regions that's hyphenated. It's Trentino Alto-Adige.
Correct.
And as you go farther south, there's much more of an Italian influence. As you go into Alto-Adige, it's called the South Tyrol, the Sud Tyrol, and you have influence from Austria and Germany, and we'll see that today. And what's really, I think, pretty nice about it is that you're dealing with 2 languages. So we're going to be talking about Pinot Bianco, and the local people call it Weissburgunder. And I think this adds a really nice dimension. And the area is high in altitude, so you get very cool nights to go with the hot days. You get the good acidity to go with the fruitiness. And it's best known for white wines, but they produce some wonderful red wines as well.
Yep.
And even a rosé. We're going to be tasting a Lagrein later, which will be a full red. But they make a rosé from the Lagrein Kretzer grape.
They do.
Which is very fun. There's a tradition for rosé there. So I'm with Marcello. Marcello
Hi, everybody.
is the importer of the wines, and the wines are very good. They're a cooperative winery. 190 members, started in the year 1900, and
190 hectares.
and 190 hectares. So they like the number
I like the
190. They like that. And each of the members own a small parcel of land, and then they have one winemaker that makes the wine for them.
Correct. And they also have a very peculiar characteristic. The Kurtatsch has vineyards that go from 200 meters on the sea level up to 900 meters on the sea level, which means that depending on the altitude and the exposure, they can plant the right grapes.
Yeah.
And this is unique in Europe. There is no other winery that has in the same town such a wide range of altitude.
Yeah.
And we picked 3 of the most expressive grapes from that area.
Yeah.
The Weissburgunder, the Pinot Bianco,
Yeah.
the Pinot Nero or Blauburgunder, you can pronounce it, and the Lagrein, the Riserva Lagrein called Frauenrigl. As you said, one of the most amazing things of Alto-Adige is that they have an Italian environment with a German mentality,
Yes.
which makes the best of the both.
Yes.
So it's really a unique.
Yeah.
area.
Even Kurtatsch, the Italians would say Kurtatsch.
Correct.
You
yeah.
know, so there's this interplay of Italian and Germanic.
Yeah, and the producer was telling me that kids at school can, actually their parents can pick which one going to be their first language. So they can be Italian with second language German, or the other way around. So
Yeah.
it's really a mix of the 2 cultures.
Yeah, and Italy has 20 regions, and there are several, like Sicily, for example, and also Alto Adige, which are autonomous regions.
Correct.
Which means they're able to hold on to their tax money, and they're able to run their region very, very well. I think it's probably, it's impossible to find a bad wine from this region.
Agree.
They're all wonderful. Usually each town has its own producer or a couple of producers, family-owned producers, and the wines are really wonderful, and they have a characteristic that Americans really love. And everybody thinks of Pinot Grigio, Pinot Grigio, Pinot Grigio, which is very good. But Pinot Bianco is what the local people like to drink.
That's what they drink, yeah.
Yeah.
Pinot Bianco is the main white grape in Alto Adige. For over a century, it's been like the white grape in Alto Adige.
Yes.
Pinot Grigio also, but also Chardonnay, also Sauvignon Blanc, but Pinot Bianco is their...
It's more traditional.
Yeah.
And also, I always advise people to buy wines young, and you should do that. But whereas a lot of Italian whites you want to drink quickly within a year or 2 years, this Pinot Bianco can age well. I've tasted Pinot Biancos back to 1959, and they have a wonderful acidity. So not only do they age well, but they taste young even as they get older.
Yeah.
So there's no problem in stocking up, and if you like a wine, you can hold on
save
to
it
for
for
a while.
next year or next years. Would you like to try it?
I would love to try it. Okay. It's very nice. And this is a good white wine glass. It's a little smaller than the red wine glass. Red wine, you really want to have a lot of size so you can get your nose in there and get all the complexity. White wines are usually a bit simpler with good fruitiness. Salute.
Kurtatsch has the vineyards of the Pinot Bianco around 500 meters on the sea level, roughly. They have a mixed soil, mainly sandy and clay, and also loamy. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right.
Yes, loam.
And also, this kind of land is also present in the vineyard that they use for the Pinot Nero and the Lagrein. So you have everything in this wine. You have a lot of fruit, pear, apples,
Yes.
but also, again, the acidity and the crispness of these wines is incredible,
Yeah.
and that's what helps to helps the aging.
Yeah.
It helps the aging.
You mentioned pears and apples. They actually grow pears and apples in this area.
That's true.
You know, so this is what the people are accustomed to. And I wanted to point out that very often for marketing reasons, Italian producers will use a Bordeaux bottle with clear glass, but the tradition in the area is to use Burgundian bottles, but also the green glass, which protects the wine
From the sun.
from
Yep,
the sun.
Absolutely.
So this is a good characteristic that maybe American consumers aren't used to.
Yeah, when I first came in the US, what really surprised me is this big demand for white wines in clear bottles. And I was asking, why? Why? The reason is they want to see what is inside the bottle. And then I realized that there's a big difference in culture, in the way they approach
Yes.
the white wine. But I agree with you, the dark bottle protect the wines.
Yes. Yes.
Especially, as you said, you can age the wine a few years. You definitely
Yeah.
need a dark bottle.
And actually, with the indigenous grapes of Italy, although Pinot Bianco is not really indigenous, you know, it's the Pinot Blanc, same as
Yeah.
Pinot Blanc, and it's somewhere between a Pinot Grigio and a Chardonnay
Correct,
in
yeah.
taste.
Yeah.
So the Chardonnay drinker, the Pinot Grigio drinker are going to enjoy the wine.
I agree.
But some of the indigenous grapes, the consumer can't tell if they are white or red. So
That's true.
if you have a clear bottle, they can tell it's white.
It happened to me in a wine store. One of my customers put a bottle of a white grape, I forgot what grape it was, among the red wine. That I didn't know what it was. I thought it was a red.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah.
I understand.
It's excellent, by the way.
Yeah,
the wine
I
is
love it.
excellent.
But
vi-
2019, so
yeah,
the last
2019.
available vintage, definitely a baby. It's a wine at 3-4 years old, easily can be aged and enjoyed, no problem.
Yeah, they
Before
usually
more.
say 3, 4, 5 years.
Yeah.
I say it can be 10 years or
Yeah.
more. That's my feeling. And it will evolve.
It will
and,
evolve. Yeah.
Pinot Bianco grown here is going to be different from Pinot Bianco grown Pinot Blanc in France
Correct,
or California or
Yeah.
any other place.
Yeah.
Because the terroir gives it the characteristics, the soil, the altitude, the position. And
I
this
agree.
is really a
I
very
al-
good one.
I always say to people that I ask, what do you like? And they say, oh, I like Cabernet, I like Merlot, I like Chardonnay. And my second answer is, from where?
Yeah.
Because you may like Cabernet from a certain region, but you never tried Cabernet from another region.
That's right.
So you need to
That's
be
right.
careful saying, I love Cabernet or I love Chardonnay, because
Yeah.
Italian Chardonnay is a different animal compared to the...
That's right. And it'll be a good indication for the next wine, which is a Pinot Noir.
Exactly.
Because you know Pinot Noir can come from so many different places.
Exactly.
Uh,
Let's go with the Blau Burgunder. I
And-
apologize to my friends in Alto-Adige for the terrible pronunciation.
Grauburgunder means the blue Burgundy, and that's the German term for Pinot Noir. In fact, Pinot Noir is really not such a good name for this grape variety because it lacks black color.
Blackness.
It's not generous in color. It's more a lightish red to garnet even as it ages, and it's a cool climate grape. And the coolness of the evenings in Alto-Adige lend to the balance of this wine and the possibility of longevity as well.
Yeah, and for this one example, they use a very short maceration, only 2-3 days. They don't extract a lot from the grape, and then there's a short time in big oak barrels, around 6-8 months, to just smooth even more. Oh, a grape is already smooth without any help.
Yeah.
Can I say it's a French style Pinot Noir if you want to compare?
I think so, more Burgundian
Yeah,
than
correct.
what you'd get from Willamette Valley in Oregon and
Exactly.
maybe some of the areas of
They
California.
are more extracted from the area.
Yes,
Right?
and you mentioned the maceration. It's a contact with the skins, and it picks up its color and its extract from that. And so you have a lighter version, but it still has a lot of style and elegance.
Personality. You have red currant, you have a little bit of cherries. And it's velvety. I love this
Yeah,
Pinot
very,
Noir, Pinot
very
Nero.
smooth, very smooth.
I can say Pinot Noir, Pinot Nero. That's what
Pinot Nero is Italian for Pinot Noir, and it's not really a very popular grape. They don't have the same quantities that they have of Merlot, Cabernet.
Yeah.
Italy's a major producer of Merlot,
Yeah.
major producer of Chardonnay,
Yes.
but the Pinot Noir is sort of a shy
It's only in the
variant.
northern part, in Alto-Adige, in Lombardy, the area of the Oltre
Yes.
Pavese. That's where they're Piedmont too now. In the
Yes.
northern part, some good
Yeah,
Pinot Noir. But I think that from the central, from Emilia Romagna down, I think it's too warm for the Pinot
Yes,
Noir. Correct.
It will taste a bit different.
A little bit different, a little bit
Yeah.
more burn.
Yeah, yeah. And then the Italians use Pinot Nero as one of the grape varieties in their sparkling wines. They make very fine
Right.
sparkling wines, very much like French champagne.
Correct.
People have a tendency to think that it's just Prosecco, but there are also some more expensive sparkling wines, and very often Pinot Noir is one of the grapes in there.
Absolutely.
And the reason why you don't get the red color is they take the free run juice off the skins. So now you have a white wine
White.
from a red grape variety, which the French call a Blanc de Noir.
Plug them on.
Bianco di Nero.
Sì, sì,
It's
sì,
the
sì,
same
sì, sì.
thing. This is really lovely. This is a
Thank you.
wonderful one. This is good for Thanksgiving. This is good
It's
for
good for
turkey.
exactly, and also can be enjoyed chilled because of the very low level in tannins. When you chill it, you don't feel the tannins and the bite at the end. It's very smooth, and
Yeah.
I like it chilled. I like it around 60 degrees roughly, not super cold, but
Yes.
lightly chilled.
And the vintage on this one?
This one is 2019 as well.
2019.
19, yeah.
It's enjoyable right now.
I tried even for this one old vintages. Up to the oldest was what 2013, I think. Again, different, but still evolving. Still a
Yeah.
wine that can age. Not that doesn't have a lifespan like a Sangiovese or Brunello, but as a 3, 4, 5 years of aging
Yeah.
easily.
Without a problem.
Even here, 500 meters on the sea level, you have a little bit of acidity. The altitude helps to give the acidity to the wine because of the temperature swings between night and day.
Yeah. And you recall I said that this was what I call the school of Italy. A couple of factors about the Northeast. The largest place to cultivate grapes in the world is in Rochedo, and Rochedo is in Friuli. And it's a nursery, and they've become global now. They've
Yes.
actually opened branches in other countries, but they work on specific grape varieties there. Also in nearby Verona, it's not in this area, but not far, they have the largest Italian wine fair
Oh, yeah.
a year, which is
In
Vinitaly.
Italy.
So between the wine fair and Rochedo, those are two very good reasons why we call it the School of Italy. And also there are very important enological schools. I think a lot of people think
Yes.
that a gondolier sings and they make the wine. But no, you have to go to school, you have to learn all the science and the art in making wines. And in Conegliano
Yes.
and in other parts of Alto-Adige, there are very sophisticated schools.
And it's hard. That school, winemaking
Very
school,
difficult.
to be an enologo is difficult.
Yeah.
My brother studied in Bra,
So it's in
Piedmont,
Piemonte.
and it was hard. It
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
You need to know about everything
Yeah.
in order to make wine.
Yeah.
For us,
I-
it's easy to taste. It's the best part of the job,
Yeah.
right?
I had a friend from Basilicata, Donato D'Angelo, and he graduated from Conegliano, and he went back to his farm in Basilicata, way down in the south, and it was the 1973 vintage, and it was perfect, and it was easy. He said, "This is very easy." The next year, he
It's
said,
not
"How
that
could I
easy."
have said that? It's not so easy." So you have to work with what nature gives you,
Correct.
and nature is not always that
Yeah,
kind.
you cannot make all your plans. There's always something that goes wrong.
Yeah, yeah, very good.
You want to go on the next one?
Yes, let's go with it. And I should have mentioned also that Conegliano is an area where they're famous for making barrels.
Okay.
So this area in the northeast is also known for barrel making. Garbellotto is a
Garbellotto.
very important company.
Yeah, I think once you have a good area for wine, everything related with wine grows
It's gonna
around it.
grow. In fact, even in Friuli, that's where a lot of the corkscrews come from.
Yep.
Yeah,
And the corks too. And the corks too.
corks.
The corks produced. They import from Portugal the wood, the material used for cork, and they produce.
and they produce a cork. Oh, very good.
Talking about cork. Look at this. It's a full piece of cork. It's
It's solid. It's not.
solid. Yeah.
It's not particle cork, which you see in a lot of the commercial wines.
Yeah. Usually, when you are producing a wine that can age, or the winemaker wants to age the wine, definitely that one is a better cork. It
Yeah,
can hold better.
absolutely.
It has more elasticity. Correct.
Yes. Yes, and when a consumer buys a wine, extracts the cork, if you see a little bit of the wine in the tip, that's a good sign.
A good sign.
If you see the cork is bleeding, you know it's danger, then maybe the wine was stored too hot, maybe there was a problem. But it's good when you buy a wine just to see the tip with the color of the wine.
Yeah, I think that the most important thing is that the wine doesn't get to this part, right?
Yes,
Because it means that if it gets here, even air gets here.
yes. Yeah.
All right, let's go with the Lagrein. Lagrein is
Lagrein.
another indigenous grape from Alto-Adige.
This is a different story,
Yep.
this one.
It's a grape that is related with the Syrah,
Yes.
and specifically this one is called Frauenrigl. Again, I apologize for my pronunciation, which is Frauen, which means girl, woman in German, and Riegel, which means property. And the reason why they call it this way is because this Lagrein comes from the southern part of South Tyrol, which is the warmest part, and there is a reason why. Now, but also 100 years ago, most of the properties were owned by women. What is southern part? Because it's the warmest part of South Tyrol. Having the vineyards of Lagrein in the southern part lead to a wine with more body. If you just see the color compared to the Pinot Noir, I don't know if you can see, but it's a pretty big difference in
Yes.
in color.
Also, they have a tendency to plant the Lagrein lower on the hill
Yeah,
than
yeah.
higher on
Because
the
it's a
hill.
little bit warmer.
Put the whites up there and some of the reds a little lower, and as you mentioned, it's hotter, it's warmer
And,
there.
and Lagrein with a little bit of nice warm weather produce this amazing even a red fruit.
What's really nice is the tannins are soft.
And it's soft, and you get the licorice at the end.
Yes, and you get those roots in the finish.
I have a little bit of black pepper too, probably because of the
spicy aspect.
No, I can relate with the Syrah. The typical
Yes.
black pepper of the Syrah.
Yeah. And the Syrah or Shiraz is the same grape. Most of the wineries in Italy that grow Syrah call it Syrah. They don't call it Shiraz. There's one winery in Rome that refers to their wine as Shiraz. And again, that's something that is prolific in the Rhone area in France. And people don't realize that some really important Syrah wines are made in Italy. And the Lagrein is
in Tuscany too, they make great Syrah.
Yes.
And probably the Lagrein prefer a little bit colder weather, warm weather, but not too warm like maybe in South Italy.
Yeah.
And yeah, these are Riserva, so they produce a few thousand bottles every year.
Yeah. And Riserva, by the way, isn't something that they can just put on a label.
No, yeah.
Riserva means that it's aged for a longer period of time than the normal wine.
Correct, yeah.
So you'll have Lagrein, and then you'll have Lagrein Riserva. And each area makes its own rules, like a Brunello di Montalcino ages for 4 years. Brunello di Montalcino Riserva ages for 5 years.
Yeah.
So, and not every area has a Riserva.
Correct,
You know, it's only specific zones, all controlled by the Ministry of Agriculture.
And,
It's very important.
And also another thing that I love from this area is the fact that they put together all the energy on one appellation, which is Alto-Adige. Riserva or regular, but Alto-Adige. In Italy, you see a lot of different appellations, and sometimes are small appellation from small towns, while they could put all the energy together and promote and try to focus on
Very
one
hard to
appellation.
convince the Italians to do that, because they like their little location and they want to promote their
My town is
location.
better than yours.
That's right.
That's for sure.
Yeah. This is lovely. This is very
I
good.
love it, Lagrein.
Got some power. This has some power. So different from Pinot Noir.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah. This one, even in the summer, I will love it. Cold, just sipping one. This one I will more enjoy it with or a nice meal, but I would love to have cold weather around me with this
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
I
And
know
the
it's a-
vintage on this Marcello?
this is 2017.
2017.
A little bit more aging.
Yeah.
Same thing. I tried old vintages of this, and
Yeah, there's no
Okay.
problem.
No
And you can
problem.
see in these, it's good to look against a white background for the color. You look for texture, you look for a lot of things, and you look to see if there's any browning around the edges, and there's no sign of that at all, either in the Pinot Noir or in the Lagrein. So this is a young wine that will definitely improve as it ages a bit. And I would like to say that these wines would be difficult to find in stores.
yes, correct.
Wine shops have a tendency to look for wines that people would recognize, that they don't have to hand sell. They don't have the time to hand sell.
Agree.
You know, they have a
Yeah.
lot of wines, and they want the customers to be able to pick what they want. And that's one reason why we selected them also for our wine list, and also to offer to the consumers. They are good restaurant wines, very good restaurant wines, and not easy to find in stores.
Bene.
Well, thank you very much, Marcello.
My pleasure.
I'll give you a little
Fist
fist bump,
bump.
the traditional fist bump now.
Traditional fist bump.
And thank you very much. I think these are wonderful wines. I'm happy to offer them to our consumers.
It's been my pleasure, and I'm glad you picked three of my wines, and I guess I'll see you soon.
We'll get you back, and we'll do some other 3-packs in some other regions.
Anytime, I'm here.
Okay.
Thank you everybody for watching.
Bene.